Tonight was the go-home of Raw before this weekend's Money in the Bank pay-per-view. So WWE was trying to tie a bow on all of its major storylines. Following multiple sneak attacks from Finn Balor, freaking Rollins addressed his condition heading into his World Heavyweight Championship match against Finn Balor. We also saw Dominic Mysterio talk about his feud with Cody Rhodes, and Ronda Rousey battled Raquel Rodriguez in singles action. Let's take a look at what went down during tonight's show for This is Ridiculously Raw. Welcome, everybody, to Ridiculously Raw, the most must-see show on YouTube and StreamYard.com today. I am your host, Anthony Florio, joined as always, Little MF Michael Fletcher. We are awaiting the presence of Michael Bullock. If he comes in, we'll catch him up on this. If not, to have him back with us Wednesday night for Wednesday Night Madness. But for right now, let's dive right on in. Monday Night Raw tonight, their final stop on the road to Money in the Bank. And they were live tonight from the End Market Arena in Savannah, Georgia, on the USA Network. And we started it off with an in-ring segment. We had the Women's World Champion Rhea Ripley and Dominic Mysterio. This was more about the Dominic and Cody feud that's going to culminate on Saturday afternoon. Interrupted by Cody Rhodes, and that's all it was. Pretty opening segment. Cody Rhodes is always good on the mic, and Dom always gets great heat. So the crowd seemed invested, even if what we saw in the ring was rather uneventful. And you have to give Dom credit for never laughing when the crowd boos. It would be so easy to break when trying to keep a serious face. And the pop Cody Rhodes got for his entrance was huge. It's always big, but this one sounded louder than usual. Of course, we all know it with the woes and all that on his theme songs. So nothing really, significant to speak of there. But we will address this, though. Our first match of the night, a preview of the Money in the Bank ladder match coming up. Shinsuke Nakamura versus Ricochet. And Ricochet wins the match in 10 minutes and 50 seconds. Wow. One of the fights of the night for sure. This was a good 3.25 star match. Ricochet and Nakamura were both saving their energy for the pay-per-view this weekend, but they still managed to put on a serviceable match. These are two veterans who are as good at what they do as anyone in the world, so they would almost have to try to put on a bad match at this point. We have not seen every combination of singles match between these three men, including Bronson Reed, and every one of them has been fun. And Bronson Reed, of course, was sitting in on commentary, and he got ejected from the ring as he tried to get involved during the match. That definitely helped the match a bit here. And Ricochet's shooting star press is about as perfect as it gets, and he makes it look easy, which makes it even more impressive. So for me, this was a solid 3.25 star match and a great way to start off the in-ring action here tonight. So not much more to say here. Good old MF Michael Fletcher, come on in. This is an MF special. These are two of your favorites. The boys. Ricochet picking up huge momentum going into the Money in the Bank ladder match, defeating Shinsuke Nakamura 10 minutes and 50 seconds.
Yeah, absolutely. Great opener, great matchup. 3 stars for me. The body of work was excellent. I think it was just because of the fact that they left everything on the line. I don't think there was anything negative about this matchup. I don't think there was anything that really would have caused any distraction or anything else. Yes, Bronson Reed tried to get involved, but was immediately ejected, which was the right decision, like you said. And then it led us to a great fight. That's exactly what we wanted about a couple of weeks ago when they first battled it out, Nakamura versus Ricochet, but Bronson Reed got involved and got the fight thrown out. This time around, we got the logical explanation. We got an actual winner, and that's as good as you're going to get. So to get that outcome was great. 3 stars. Anthony, it's yours.
All right, and we move on. Of course, what is this show without cutouts? And there's going to be quite a few of them here tonight. And then from there, we had a match with one half of the of the newly unified, undisputed WWE Women's Tag Team Champions, Ronda Rousey. Her partner, Shayna Baszler, in the corner. She went one-on-one with Raquel Rodriguez, of course, with Morgan in Raquel's corner. Ronda Rousey wins the match, 2 minutes and 20 seconds. Nothing to speak of here. But it was announced over the weekend that Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler will defend the Women's Tag Team Championships this Saturday at Money in the Bank against Raquel Rodriguez and Liv Morgan. Match was short, didn't do much to advance the feud, but Rousey and Rodriguez seemed to understand how to work together. Most of what they did looked good, especially when Rodriguez was showing off her power. But it is what it is. So 1 star, that's really the best. We would give this. So not much more to say on that. We move on to the World Heavyweight Champion. That would be Seth freaking Rollins. And, he acknowledged the presence of NXT champion Carmelo Hayes. Carmelo Hayes, a special guest at Raw tonight in Savannah. But Seth Rollins cut a promo, and then Finn Balor came out, and they had another brawl. They went at it. And, you got to give Creator. Yes, I know Creator gets a lot of flack nowadays, especially with McMagma back running things, but give them a lot of credit here. This feud is not for everybody. I know there were some who are not really interested in this, aside from a match quality standpoint when they started the build to this, but they've done a very good job of putting heat on Finn Balor by having him get the better of Seth Rollins repeatedly. The involvement of Carmelo Hayes is a nice touch. It's given the NXT champion good exposure. And as a bonus, they set up a match later on in the show, which we'll get into, Finn Balor versus the NXT champion, Carmelo Hayes. So how about that? Carmelo Hayes in a main roster match. How about that? So that's really all there was to say there. Then we were supposed to have a return match with Tommaso Ciampa and The Miz. The Miz attacked Tommaso Ciampa prior to the match, so obviously nothing happened there. So, whatever, move on. And then Dominic Mysterio was in a match. He went up against Akira Tozawa. Dominic Mysterio wins in 1:50. Another nothing match. Nothing to really, significantly speak of here. And the goal of the match was for Dom to get an easy win over someone we are supposed to perceive as being lower than him on the card. All it really did was let us know what management thinks of Akira Tozawa. The former Cruiserweight champion hit a few nice moves, but as a whole, the match was a waste of time, which was especially disappointing after it took so long for WWE to have another match after Raquel Rodriguez and Ronda Rousey. So, whatevs. But then we had the Women's Money in the Bank Ladder Match Summit. All the women in the Money in the Bank ladder match. Corey Graves served as the moderator. And, again, nothing to really speak of here. Pretty basic segment that simply spotlighted all 6 women involved in the match. A wrestler standing tall on a ladder on the go-home show is typically another sign that they're not going to win the match. That said, you can't rule out the creative forces. They're well aware of the past tells and are using them, to throw us off the trail here. And that said, winning Money in the Bank does not do it nearly as much for Becky Lynch as it would for one of the other entrants. And the only thing, it was a fine segment, but the thing was, the visual that I'll remember, and I know MF will remember, was seeing Becky climbing up the ladder, and then prior to grabbing the briefcase, kissing the briefcase, and then bringing it down. MF?
Go ahead, finish your thought, and then I'll give you my thought in a minute.
Okay. Yep. So that was basically all I wanted to do was, let that out there. Was it the best segment? No, but I will say this though, MF. booking 101 is definitely rearing its head here. Becky's not winning this thing.
I disagree.
You think so?
I think she wins it because of the fact that, look, that is the mindset that you would have if McMahon is running WWE. Becky Lynch is the biggest name in WWE today. What is the one thing she's missing out of everything she's done in her career? Money in the Bank.
And also Queen of the Ring, too.
Also Queen of the Ring, but Queen of the Ring is relatively new. We don't even know if they're even doing it again. That might have been like a one-time thing, Florio.
This is true.
So, besides that, I thought it was going to be Zelina because I thought they were going to give her the mega push and that she was going to get the opportunity. Now, I don't think that's even in the cards. Because they're not going to have her go after the women's world title, or the WWE women's title. I just don't see her in that mix. I don't think it's going to be Trish. I don't see Bayley winning it. The only logical would be Becky Lynch, and we just saw it. Becky versus Rhea. You don't think for 1 second that the fans would not clamor to see Becky Lynch versus Rhea Ripley for the undisputed World Women's title?
SummerSlam?
Down the line? It doesn't necessarily have to be at SummerSlam. You could push that all the way to WrestleMania if you want to.
Oh, Philly.
I mean, that would be the creme of la creme. Becky could buy her time because once you get Money in the Bank, you don't necessarily have to cash it in right away. You don't. There's some who did, who went right then and there, or you could wait and buy your time. And you could build a storyline because obviously they're not going to be done with the Trish Stratus storyline. No.
That's right.
I kind of feel like Tristan and Becky's got maybe 1 or 2 more fights. Maybe the blow off is at SummerSlam. But with the Money in the Bank, it's gonna have not just Becky, or I should say not just Rhea, but Asuka. If they decide to do it, maybe Charlotte or Bianca. All 4 women are going to have eyes in their back of their heads. Because whoever are the 2 champions, the Money in the Bank could be utilized anytime, any place, anywhere. And you don't think for one goddamn second that WWE is not thinking about Becky Lynch. You know Becky is over with the fans, and you know the fans have been wanting her to be the champion again. And quite frankly, with all due respect to Asuka, to Charlotte, to Bianca, and to Rhea, there's only one that runs WWE when it comes to the women's division. And that is the man, Becky freaking Lynch. Florio, it's yours.
Okay. I don't know how I'm going to follow that, but I shall do my best. But yeah, let's move on. And what a match we have here. Intercontinental Heavyweight Champion Gunther squaring off against Sami Zayn in a non-title match. Gunther wins the match in an even 12 minutes. Although I thought it went a little longer on television, but that's what I have here in my notes here. So it was an even 12 minutes. MF, I mean, what can you say? Gunther and Sami. We all remember Gunther and Cable had an amazing match a few weeks ago. No surprise, Gunther and Sami had the same exact match almost.
You could even make an argument for Fight of the Night. That's how good this was. You could.
Sure.
I mean, it was a solid match. It was a good battle. It was a great fight. It was heartwarming. It was in your face, smash mouth, WWE style. You know, these are two men that is, I could say it, be a man. That was exactly what it was. Now, there was some interference by Imperium. Okay, we knew that was coming. There was interference. Then, of course, you had Kevin Owens. You had Matt Riddle. Riddle got jumped earlier in the night and got attacked, got hurt with that injured ankle again. So, I mean, it made necessary sense. It made logical sense for everything to go down the way it did. So for me, great matchup, great fight, 3.5 stars. Floyo, it's yours.
Positively. I mean, yeah, most of this match was a fun exchange between two talented veterans. The interference made sense for the feud that has been building, and Matt Riddle showing up at the end to make the save clearly sets up a 6-man match in the future. But what we do know is that Money in the Bank, Matt Riddle will challenge Gunther for the Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship. So we're looking at another banger there. The reactions Sammy was getting in January were so much bigger than what he's getting now. He's still popular, but WWE missed the boat on making him the hottest babyface in professional wrestling by perhaps letting him beat Rollins. But Gunther has a great German accent, which seems appropriate since Austria and Germany are neighbors. But yeah, very good matchup here. 3.5 stars. It's not a 4 or so star match, but the overbooked interference near the end there definitely brings it down a bit. But it was still a very good match. 3.5 stars. So with that, we move on. And then we had Carmelo Hayes, the NXT champion, squaring off against Finn Balor. Finn Balor wins the match, 9 minutes and 50 seconds. 3 to 3.25 on this one. Another one of the fights of the night here, no question about it. This was the first real match these two have had, and that can always be tricky. But they established good chemistry right away and ended up putting on a fun showcase. Melo hit a lot of impressive high-flying moves, while Balor provided a great base. Surprisingly, this match ended without any interference and saw Finn Balor score a clean win with the coup de grace, or as we call it, or as Luge calls it, the coup de grace. Balor had some deep marks on his chest from Melo's strikes, and Melo's reverse springboard DDT was awesome. But a solid 3, teetering on 3.25 stars. Another one of the top fights of the night here. So MF, not a bad first showing for the NXT champion on main roster television.
No, and that's exactly what it needed it to be. A dominating performance by Melo. Yet, look, he did lose, but he didn't lose in a bad way. He lost because it was a good performance. He looked strong. He looked amazing. He looked like he belonged on the main roster. That's exactly what you want from an NXT call-up. You know, you want an NXT guy come into the company and show up, show out, represent, and be that guy. And that's exactly what they did. At the end of the day, it was a tremendous performance. It was a great win for Finn Balor. And the thing was, Balor didn't need, Balor needed the win more than Melo. Melo will be fine. What Melo had to do was look amazing, show us why you are the NXT champion, and make us want to see your show on Tuesday night. This is a showcase for you. And what he did was exactly that. Showed up, showed out, show why you're the A champ on NXT. He had no business winning this match. If he would have won it, it would have been the wrong call, the wrong decision, the whole 9 yards. It probably would have hurted more than helped. To me, I'm very happy with the way that this match turned out, because what Balor needed was more momentum. Balor needed this more than Carmelo Hayes. Hayes will get the feather in the cap to say, hey, I went up against Balor. I pushed him to the limit. It was a hell of a fight, but but they'll say you came up short, but you were amazing. You showed up. You looked good in a losing effort, and people will remember it. And Savannah, Georgia, really got behind the A champ. They got behind Mello, so they knew what they were dealing with. Not like some other cities or other areas in when WWE comes and NXT doesn't get any peep or anything. There was a good crowd chanting NXT, NXT, NXT. That is exactly what you want to get. You want to get that love. You want to get the respect. You want to get the everything that you want. Um, Especially if you're coming up from out of nowhere. And the thing is that as of other situations, yes, Balor won, but the thing is, Carmelo looked good in losing. He didn't lose any momentum. He didn't get buried. He it was what it needed it to be. A great showcase for Carmelo Hayes. First time on the main roster for the whole world to see him. Many people, I hope, now goes out of their ways to watch NXT because this guy deserves the love, the respect, and more importantly, to get the opportunity to shine in the spotlight. That's what they did. I loved it. I thought they did an amazing job with it. So there's nothing more for me to say. It is a 3.5-star bout. Anthony, it's yours.
All right. And I think after this was the main event of the evening here. Yeah, main event of the evening. Here we go. Cody Rhodes squaring off against Damian Priest. Cody Rhodes wins the match. 13 minutes, 35 seconds. So MF momentum for Cody going into the match with Dom at Money in the Bank as he knocks off Damian Priest 13:35.
Yeah, and another solid performance, another very good match, another quality matchup. Is it worthy of main event for Monday Night Raw? Most likely not, but you got to give credit where credit's due. They absolutely brought it. It was a very good main event. You could even make an argument that this match could be Fight of the Night honors as well. It is another 3-star bout. It was a solid main event, and again, for Cody Rhodes, it's just adding more fuel to the fire, staying relevant, and being in that top tier guy that you are. Even though he's not going to be involved in Money in the Bank, we already know that. But that doesn't necessarily mean that he is he's a sack of potatoes or anything like that. Cody Rhodes will be fine. He's gonna beat Dom at Money in the Bank. I think that's a given. What they do after heading into SummerSlam, now that leads to a question that we'll wait and see. But I will say this: I enjoyed it. I liked it. I thought it was very well done. Solid main event. More than anything else, Damian Priest got nothing to be ashamed of. Nothing to be ashamed of. I thought he did really well. His stock is rising. He is getting better and better and better week in and week out. And the thing is that I really believe that he is going to be a massive, massive, massive face once he does finally break away from Judgment Day. He is getting better by the time, and I'm really enjoying it. So I really got nothing more to say. So yeah, Anthony, 3.5 for the main event, and it's all yours.
Yeah, right there with you. You could certainly make an argument for Fight of the Night honors on this one. As expected, they put on a good performance to close the show. It definitely picked up during the second half, which is a trademark of Cody Rhodes matches. Don tripping Rhodes while the rest distracted, but Priest still wasn't able to put him away with the South. The American Nightmare recovered and hit Crossroads for the win. Rhodes has great balance when he runs up the ropes, and Damian Priest's jumping kick looked weak from the first angle, but somehow looked better from the second angle they used for the replay. It was smart to show a different angle on that one. But 3.5 and 3/4 of a star. Definitely, I can make an argument for Fight of the Night here. So that, let's get into the overall review here. Go-home shows before a big pay-per-view are always tricky. WWE wants to get the crowd hyped for the upcoming show, but it doesn't want any of its biggest stars getting hurt right before a major event. So a lot of filler. Video packages, backstage segments, and interviews took up a lot of time tonight. We still got a few good matches, but a few of the other bouts we saw left a lot to be desired. Tozawa versus Dominic was barely a match, and the bout between Ronda Rousey and Raquel Rodriguez should have had at least 5 more minutes on it. Finn Balor versus Carmelo Hayes, Gunther versus Sami Zayn, Cody Rhodes, Damian Priest, and Ricochet versus Shinsuke Nakamura were all the highlights, but everything else was skippable, with the exception of, if you noticed in the stage area, Cody Rhodes' his dog. Yeah, you notice Pharaoh in backstage cameos, so love that. So for me, based on all of this, I would probably give this a solid 7 at the best, maybe 7.5. So it's right around the 7 to 7.5 range for this. So not much more to say. MF, your thoughts, and then I'll get into my Tony stake here.
I would say 7.5 is definitely a reach. I will go definitely 7. I thought they did really good. I thought it was a solid show. Yes, there wasn't much to talk about, but matches-wise, I thought they did a really, really, really good job with that. I think the body of work of some of the matches that they did, I thought the layout of the show looked good. That's going to be the good thing going into the Money in the Bank. Obviously, now everybody's heading off to London. Everybody's heading off for the O2 for the big show on Friday night. And then, of course, Saturday is Money in the Bank. So I think it's going to be a very interesting show, to say the very least. That I think it's going to be quality is what we're looking at. So I'm excited for it. It's going to be a very crazy few days now as everybody's heading off to London. I think they leave tomorrow to go to London. So it's going to be I think it's like a 15, 16-hour flight just to get to London, England. So get your rest, guys. Good luck. Godspeed as you're going across the pond. God save the king. Now it's God save the king. So, and yeah, just enjoy yourselves over there, guys, and get ready for combat. Get ready for SmackDown on Friday, Money in the Bank on Saturday. And oh, by the way, programming note, we'll be recapping, and previewing. We're actually going to do it on Friday this time around because of Money in the Bank on Saturday. But we are going to do a special recap, possibly Saturday night. I don't know for sure. We'll wait to see how long the show goes. But we might do after Money in the Bank, maybe 11 o'clock. Hopefully, we'll see how it plays out. But we'll be previewing Money in the Bank on Friday. So, Anthony, it's yours.
As well as reviewing SmackDown, right?
Yes.
Okay. And let's not forget, special start time, 3 p.m. Eastern for Money in the Bank. So
yes.
So
actually, we will be able to do the recap. So what we're going to do is we'll do the SmackDown Live. For the hell of it, we'll go back screw it.
No.
Recap of Money in the Bank. We'll say this. Recap of SmackDown. Preview of Money in the Bank. On Saturday, recap of Collision and the recap of the Money in the Bank show as well.
Okay. So there you go. You heard it here first. So that'll be in the future content there. And MF, give it to Bullock. I'm sure it'll be the same start time for our shows this week. I'm sure. So I can plug the feature content ahead of time.
Yes. Yep. No problem. Everything stays the same.
Everything stays the same. Okay. And what about Friday? Since we're not going to do that other show anymore.
Friday is going to be a 10:30 start, and then of course Saturday 10:30 as well.
There you go. So, all right. So with that being said, Vina, come on in. We're gonna recap with you now, since Michael Bell has just joined us here. So, as you know, only the relevant stuff, of course.
Relevant stuff.
Was that?
I said the relevant stuff.
Yeah, relevant stuff indeed. Shinsuke
And hopefully
Nakamura,
there was a good amount of relevant stuff.
It was a decent amount of it. We had Ricochet defeating Shinsuke Nakamura in 10 minutes and 50 seconds.
Yeah, that to me was a 3 to 3.25 star bout when you got these two in here, and especially builds some momentum for Ricochet going into Money in the Bank.
Indeed, and a lot of promo stuff. Then we had next relevant thing on this. We had a match with Gunther versus Sami Zayn, and Gunther winning the match in an even 12 minutes.
Again, this was another good match, but then again, when you got someone with the likes of Gunther and then you got Sami Zayn, you know it's going to be something real good. So I'll give this about 3.5 stars.
NXT champion Carmelo Hayes off against Finn Balor, match 9 minutes and 50 seconds.
What was the match?
Finn Balor versus Carmelo Hayes. Carmelo Hayes actually wrestled on this show tonight against Finn Balor, but Finn Balor won the match in 9 minutes and 50 seconds.
This was about a 3.25 star bout, and didn't I tell you something, Florio? When as soon as when Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams came out to chase out Finn Balor, that something was gonna come out of this?
You were right, yes.
And that's what we got here. But I guess Carmelo Hayes learned that. I guess when you mess with the Judgment Day, well, it doesn't end well, and unfortunately for him, for Carmelo Hayes, it wasn't his night, and certainly not the way he wants going into his NXT title match tomorrow night.
No, indeed not. Then we had the main event of the evening. It was Cody Rhodes versus Damian Priest, and Cody Rhodes winning the match 13 minutes and 35 seconds.
Another 3.5 star match here, and yeah, for Cody, this definitely gets him some momentum going into his matchup against Dominic Mysterio, or as you and I like to call him, Florio.
Dum Dum.
Exactly, and that's who he is. He is Mr. Dum Dum. But then again, the entire Judgment Day are Dum Dums as far as I'm concerned. But nice momentum for Cody Rhodes here.
All right, and the overall thoughts?
Well, like you said, there was a decent amount of good things, but again, you also had some of the irrelevant stuff. But I think this was definitely better than what we saw last week with Raw. So I'm going to give this in the end about maybe 6.5 to 7. That's how I would go.
Yep. All right.
Yep.
So, all right. So with that, I will get into my Tony's take now. You know how we do it, Impact Wrestling and all that, along with NXT and Level Up. So, all right. Impact Wrestling from the Ohio Expo Center in Columbus, Ohio. Started off with a match, OVE versus the Good Hands and Brian Myers in a 6-man tag team matchup. And it was the Good Hands and Brian Myers winning the match 5 minutes and 40 seconds. 2.5 stars. It was a rather formula-based match, and the ending helps establish Moose and Myers as a team who could be something down the line. OVE feels almost like a blast from the past, but they're good enough for a spot like this. As long as they're away from the design, it's kind of hard to complain that much. Then we had Dirty Dango against Bhupinder Gujar. Dirty Dango wins the match in 2 minutes. Worst fight of the night, obviously. 1 star. Nothing more to say. Speedball Mike Bailey and Jonathan Gresham, they teamed up against the design. And Speedball Mike Bailey and Jonathan Gresham win the match 9 minutes and 28 seconds, rather. Solid 3 stars. The match did one important thing, getting us closer to the destruction of the design. The team outlived its usefulness, and now they finally seem to be going away. And Gresham and Bailey were good enough as a team, but I don't want to see them becoming the next dream team to go after the titles, but we'll see. Then we had Taylor Wilde versus Killer Kelly, and Killer Kelly winning the match, 5 minutes, 8 seconds. 2.5 stars. Nice back and forth match with Kelly getting a win here. I could go for her getting a stronger push, as she has felt like someone who could go a lot higher rather quickly. For now, at least she is getting a win, and if she can find a partner, we could have some fresh challengers for the Knockouts Tag Team Championships, and they could certainly use some new challengers, so that's certainly an idea. So, not much more to say. And we had an in-ring segment of Bully Ray and Scott D'Amore. Good promo here, as D'Amore sounds like a man who has to do something. Joe Henry versus Yuya Uemura for the Digital Media Championship. Joe Henry successfully defends it in 9 minutes and 7 seconds, 3 stars. It didn't have time to get very far as the break and then the camera sitting on Kenny King didn't do it any favors. King versus Henry is fine for a likely title feud, and it wouldn't shock me to see King get the title. At some point, he has to win something new, and the Digital Media title would work well. As for Uemura, he continues to be a completely fine hand in the ring, though he needs to actually win a few matches at some point before the impact fades. Main event, Bully Ray and Steve Maclin versus Frankie Kazarian and Eddie Edwards. And Bully Ray and Steve Maclin win the match, 15 minutes and 31 seconds. Fight of the night, 3.5 to 3 3/4. Nice enough main event here, and I kind of like having the teams who don't like each other not being able to win their first match against a team of former world champions. Eddie versus Kazarian should be a fun match at Slammiversary, assuming that's the way they go. Other than that, we had a back and forth match with the action doing well, though it never quite got to the next level. And 7 out of 10. Main event helped, but this show wasn't quite up to the usual stuff they do. Slammiversary is about 3 weeks away, and you can see a lot of the card from here, though that doesn't make it the most interesting. The lack of Nick Aldis after last week's big turn didn't help either, and it wasn't the most interesting result. Not bad, but more of a skippable show than usual. So, not much more to say there. Then we move on to NXT Level Up. Channing Stacks Lorenzo versus Kale Dixon. Channing Stacks Lorenzo in 5:49. It was all right. They worked well together, and that's all there is to say there. 2 stars. Luca Crucifino versus Tavion Heights. And Luca Crucifino in 5:57. Not a fan of this one, as the crowd wasn't into it, and it was kind of just a struggle to get things going. 0.5 star. Ivy Nile versus JC Jane. And JC Jane, 5 minutes and 19 seconds. I think Ivy's first loss on, it is. I assume it's up this week with her facing JC Jane. Ending sequence got a little wonky, but it is what it is. 1 star. 4.5 out of 10. Not a good show. Crowd seemed a little subdued, and things ended on a sour note. Middle match was kind of rough after a decent opener, then it never recovered. Easy show to watch, but not their best. So that's really to say on that. I did forget to mention this. I forgot to mention about what's coming up this week on Impact Wrestling. Just bear with me for a moment, and I'll pull that up here. Got a little ahead of myself. All right. Chris Sabin goes one-on-one. Will defend the X Division Championship against Trey Miguel. Trinity goes up against Jay Vidal. And just explains his actions to Alex Shelley. So that's really all there is to say on that. So all that's announced for the show this upcoming week. So with that will put the ball on this edition of Ridiculously Raw. We want to thank you all so very much for tuning in as always. Big week of content this week. So here we go. Wednesday night, we'll next be with you on Wednesday night, 10:30 over on MF's channel, Bracefan 95, for another edition of Wednesday Night Madness. And we're going to be starting off with our recap of the AEW New Japan Forbidden Door pay-per-view. And we also have, of course, NXT Gold Rush and AEW Dynamite, the fallout from Forbidden Door. So we'll get into all that on Wednesday night. Thursday night, 10:30, Tone 25, TXN Sports World. Our recap of the 2023 NBA Draft, our team-by-team grades as always. And permitting, we'll have a recap week of the Big Three, as well as preview week 2. And then in our main event, it will be our preview of the USFL championship game between the Pittsburgh Maulers and the champion Birmingham Indians. So that all goes down on Thursday. And then at least this week, we're going to bring back the Friday night show. I guess we could call this a special Friday night edition of the Cerebral Smack Talk, as we will review Friday Night SmackDown and preview Money in the Bank. No Rampage, we're not doing that anymore. So it's going to be just SmackDown and our preview of Money in the Bank on Friday night. That's it. And then Saturday night, 10:30, also on MFC 95, Talking Wrestling TXN. We will review Money in the Bank, and we will also review AEW Collision. And then next Monday night, we do it all again, Ridiculously Raw. And we start the road to SummerSlam. The road to SummerSlam starts next Monday night in Baltimore, Maryland. That's where Raw will be next week, formerly the Baltimore Arena. So their fallout for Money in the Bank. And then, like I said, we start the road to the hottest party of the summer, SummerSlam. So that's it until Wednesday night for Wednesday Madness. It's Anthony Florio here for the Phenom, Michael Bullock, and in spirit, good old MF, Michael Fletcher, and of course, always and forever, the First Lady, Dee Dee Woodson. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah, throw it up, Fortune 4 style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. Have a blessed couple of days. And until Wednesday night, or Wednesday Night Madness, you've been watching Ridiculously Raw right here on the Tone 25 on YouTube and Streaming.com. And remember, my friends, no matter what anyone tells you beyond anything else, wrestling is indeed absolutely real. For everybody who's been a part of this one, for now, Anthony Florio. So long. Bye, everybody. Bye.